Hey everybody, we're about to get started here, so still letting some folks join us. I'm Josh McFall, the Education Director at the Alabama Association of Realtors, and Bernice, I'll let you introduce yourself as well. We've got a good day planned here.
Great, Josh. Would you like me to do that right now?
Sure, that'd be great.
Right. I'm Bernice Ross. I'm the CEO of realestatecoach.com, and I am so delighted to be working with the Alabama Association of Realtors on their new agent sales training program. I'm the instructor for the course, and I'm here to answer questions. And just to give you a little bit of background on me, been in the real estate business since the last century. We won't say how many years, but sold actively for 20 years and ran the training program for 4,000 agents in the United States. I'm a regular columnist for Inman News, and I get to speak in a lot of great places, and I hope I get invited to Alabama sometime. So anyway, but I've been invited virtually, which I thank you. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us this morning, because I know that everybody is busy and we're coming into some decent weather. It's time to start selling more real estate.
That's right, and we want to help them do that today. So this is part of a brand new series of webinars that we're going to be producing this year through the Google Plus platform, and so thanks for joining us for this very first one. Just so you know, if you have friends who are missing today's webinar, it'll be archived on YouTube and posted to our webpage. We'll reference it throughout, but this particular webinar will be at alabamarealtors.com/new agent, which will have all the information about today's program, as well as information about Bernice's program, the new agent training program that's available through that. So just a couple of housekeeping things. I'm about to turn on a Q&A feature, which will allow you to type questions within the window here, and also a chat window that's available. So on your Google Plus page there, if you're looking at us, the chat window looks like a little box with text in it. So you can feel free to type, I'll say hello in there, or hey, and then you can type back to me and say hello from wherever you are. We'd love to know where you're watching from. So if you want to post up in the chat window, we'd love to see where you're calling from and where you're joining us from. I know we have folks from all over the state that are a part of today's webinar. Also, use the hashtag AARBrokerWebinar, and that will allow us to track any tweets or posts that you might make about today's webinar. So that's kind of some housekeeping things. Hopefully you're seeing us and hearing us loud and clear. Now, so I'm going to turn things over to Bernice Ross, who's going to get us started and teach us a few things this morning. So welcome, Bernice.
Thanks very much, Josh, and just want to make sure that, is my screen displaying for you right now?
Not yet.
Okay, then hang on a second. I need to get out of this and navigate back to you'll have to forgive me. This is my first time using this platform, so there's some magic here involved. And I'm waiting for that little menu to, there it is. I guess I have to push the screen share again. Okay, so let's try this again and see if that brings it up.
Right.
Okay, are you seeing my slide deck now?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yep.
So anyway, I am very excited to be, as I mentioned before, partnered with the Alabama Association of Realtors on this new agent sales training. It's something that I've trained new agents for many, many years, and the good news is that what's in the program, almost everything that's in here is something that's proven, and in terms of the newer technologies, including video, we do have that here too. So those are taken from best practices that from all over the United States, from some of the top agents who are using what they're doing with their with their businesses. So the number one question that new agents ask is, how can I become a successful real estate agent? And the answer to that question is training. But the challenge with most of the training that's out there is that one size does not fit all. And yet we've got a lot of trainers who say, well, gee, you need to do it this way or you need to do it that way. But not everybody's going to be a door knocker, and not everyone's going to be a cold caller or someone who's going to sit open house. Not everyone's going to be good at technology. So what we do is we want to provide and what we did provide in this program is a way for people coming into the business to identify their strengths and then help them define how to build their business on their strengths, including where are their personal contacts, What kind of people do they know? We really want them, instead of trying to force them to do something that they don't want to do, we want them to find what they're going to be passionate about doing, that in fact they'll be so passionate about it that they'll do it every day and not bat an eyelash about doing it. So one of the approaches that we use in the program is that we ask people to think about this program as a toolbox for their real estate success. There are some tools they're going to use all the time, and some they may use once in a while, or that maybe they're just not going to use them ever. But we want to give them the tools that they need at this moment in time to do the job that's ahead of them, and that's of course generate leads and get those leads closed. What is included in this training is the actuals. There's 12 sessions. The actual run time, if you just played straight through the program, is about 12 hours. But what we really want to do is encourage the agents to take the time to do the exercises. And we also have a manager coaching guide that we want to share with you that can help you coach your agents and keep track of what they're doing instead of holding them, quote, accountable. And nobody wants to be held accountable. That's something a parent does. And not even, not all parents do that, obviously, but nevertheless, it's a parenting kind of activity. Instead, what we want to do is make it fun for them to earn points that are self-directed, and we'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. Now, there's an agent manual that is downloadable right there on the digital chalk site, which we'll show you just momentarily. It's 187 pages long. It provides the content that's in the course. It has exercises. It has action steps. So it's something, again, that the agent can review, and we want, part of the reason of doing it in this particular format is it's like having me sitting there with them. So unlike a video when you're looking at what somebody has done, what they have talked to you, this is more in the type of training that it's like having a PowerPoint and then having the trainer talk to you and then having questions and activities interspersed throughout the training. Now, this is a screen capture of what the program actually looks like. You will not be seeing that the agents and the users won't see this as part of the course creation part of the particular program. But I want you to be able to see what they will see. So they have download the agent manual for the training. So what they would do when they get to this part, they would just click right here, and then you may have some questions. If they're running a Mac, it's going to be their download's going to be down here in the bottom. If you're running a PC, then I'm not certain where the downloads appear, but if you're on a PC, you'll know that from where you've seen your downloads go. So all they have to do is click on that. It's funny, but quite frankly, for all the years that we've been doing training and coaching at Real Estate Coach, we find that there are a lot of agents who don't know how to download a PDF. So my GM spends a lot of time taking those questions. But anyway, this gives you, and then the courses, say someone signs up for this course and they're going on a listing presentation tomorrow, they can actually go down to that session and take it right now. The course doesn't have to be done in order, although we really encourage them to do so, because what happens is each session builds on the previous ones. So the first session is really an introduction to the program, but it's also about the fundamentals of getting into the business. And then in the marketing and prospecting, we walk them through the process of creating their own brand for their business. And our philosophy is that depending on what company you belong to, for those who maybe want, who are with us, just a single office location, then we believe that the agent has to still have a micro niche, whatever you want to call it, but they need to be niched into a specific part of their area, and not everybody serves everyone. I may be working with seniors, another agent may be working with young couples starting out. Some people may be working with seniors, some may specialize in farmland, others may specialize in high-rise condos in the central city. I mean, there's all kinds of niches. We want to help them find that niche that's right for them, but then that works with your brand. And the idea is that the local office takes care of the branding and marketing for the community. If you're with a larger regional company, they take care of the region. If you're with a statewide brand, they handle the state. And then if you're with one of the national or international brands, then they're going to be handling that national and international marketing for you. So the idea is that all this branding works hand in hand, but it starts with the agent being niched into a very specific part of the market, and this is really the return of an old strategy that's been around forever. It's, it's the 250 to 500 person farm that's been around forever and a day. So on the web, I can't compete with Google, the big companies like Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams, or Remax, and I can't compete with certainly not with Realtor and Trulia and Zillow. But what I can do, and this is this is what we drive in this part of the course, is that I can compete for small pieces of the market, and that's a guerrilla marketing technique which we train them. So anyway, the information on the course is available. We walk them through open house, and by the way, I just want to share a statistic which to me was the most surprising statistic from 2014. It comes from an NAR report that tracks where closed transactions come from. And the statistic that surprised me is that, okay, well, we get 4% of all closed transactions come from open house, and if there's a yard sign, it jumps up to 7%. But what was surprising is that if you combine all of the transactions that came from Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, MLS websites, agent websites, company websites, the entire internet, all those websites, the number of closed transactions, the percentage was 4%. It's identical to open house. So, we want to encourage your agents to, if they're not doing open houses and they're spending a lot of money on online lead gen and they're not making money off of that, get them back out seeing people face to face. Anyway, we have web marketing, social lead generation, of course, buyers and sellers. Those, our materials convert at a very high rate, and the reason is that we are a question-based approach as opposed to telling the agents or the sellers what to do. We train the agents to ask questions, and that creates a dialogue instead of a presentation. Now, in terms of the way the program actually works, this is what the student will be seeing, and so they can toggle back and forth between chapters and notes. But the thing that makes this different from webinars and from video is that they can go to any point in the program. Now, the program will remember where they left off, and it also tracks how much they've completed, which sessions are complete, so we have the ability to completely see who completes the program, where they are in the program. We see sometimes people come back 4 or 5 times for certain sessions, and other sessions they go through once and they'll go on elsewhere. But what happens here in this particular part of the program, so if I wanted to go to lifestyle marketing at 9 minutes and 25 seconds, all I would have to do is click on lifestyle marketing, and that particular part of the program is 4 minutes and 47 seconds. Now, what I tried to do when I created the program, I wanted there to be interactivity so that it's just not playing constantly. So there are questions and there are activities sprinkled in throughout the program, and I believe in this particular session there's probably about 8 of them. So again, these are times where the player will pause over the hour session, and the sessions range from 45 to 59 minutes depending on what it is. But if the session will pause and ask them to do something, so we want to encourage them to do it. The session's going to play anyway, but we really want to encourage them to take the time to do these activities because it does make a big difference to them. Now, they can toggle here to notes. So the Digital Chalk platform allows them to take notes right here online, so they can do that right during the program. A lot of people prefer to write notes. Quite frankly, they're more likely to remember them if they take them by hand. However, with our digital Gen Ys and our digital natives, as they call them, they're more likely to use a digital device to type on and to take their notes there. So we provide both options. Now, I mentioned just a moment ago about the ability we have something called the New Agent Productivity Game, and the way this works is the agents earn points for engaging in different activities, and this can be changed to fit how your company does business. So if you don't like one of the activities that's in here, or if you want to add on the first page of this, it has mandatory activities, and certainly knowing your contracts, you may want them to have completed, filled out the information for your company website. You may want them to have completed some agency training. Whatever it is that you want to add to those mandatory requirements to have been considered to be the course has been completed, that's your option. But then the agents get to choose how they generate points. And on the lead generation part of this, we want them to generate 50 points per week, and you can see the different things that they can do, and you can add things to this. We're not tied to this, so if you have something that you want to add, we're fine with that. But the idea again is to get them actively securing points, and we've been doing this with agents in some of our other programs, and it works really well because some of them just get into scoring all these points, and what happens is their activities jump up and they start doing more deals. The second portion of this is lead conversion activities, and that's when they're writing offers and closing transactions. And then the next part of it is we believe that agents need to care for themselves in order to care for their clients. So we give them points for taking time off to care for themselves and spend time with their family, because again, or the people they care about, because the research shows that helps to prevent things like heart disease and cancer. So we want our agents to be up and functioning and having great lives and great businesses, and taking care of themselves is part of that. Now, one of the things that has been a very popular way to use this program with the companies that we've dealt with is the following. And my experience has been, I imagine yours has been too, if the agents don't pay for something, if they don't have some skin in the game, they don't appreciate it. So our recommendation to you is this, the training program's $299. Reimburse them for their training, which will make the training free for them when they have completed the program and they've scored 500 points in the productivity game. So when they've completed the mandatory requirements, they've done all the sessions, then you're going to have an agent who is pretty well trained, and if they've met with you during the course of the time that they're doing the productivity game, they meet with you once a week. Well, how many points did you score? What got in your way? Do you need some help with something? Is there a contract issue that you're facing? It gives you a way to be in conversation with them. But this is a powerful way to also keep them from going to one of your competitors, because you're working with them. And that one-to-one contact, the number one reason that people leave a brokerage is that their broker didn't pay enough attention to them. So this is one of the ways to kind of cut that off at the pass and keep it from happening to you. Now I want to spend a few moments, I've kind of alluded to some of the things in the training, and I've taken a few highlights to share with you to give you an idea about what this is like. From our perspective, your job as a real estate agent boils down to 6 words. In fact, I wonder what 6 words you would choose, but here are the 6 that we chose. Generate leads, convert leads, close transactions. Everything else has to be directed towards one of these 3 activities. And if it's not generating leads, then it needs to be scratched off the list. I know a lot of agents like to network. If they're not generating leads from that, scratch it. If they're not, they've been spending money on farming and they're not generating leads from it, scratch that. Now, granted, if you're doing traditional marketing with postcards and mailing, that takes longer, but it's got to be coupled with face-to-face where they're getting leads now. So tip number 1, nothing happens until someone generates a lead. So one of the statistics that we share in the program, this comes from a study from RedX. They're the expired and for sale by owner company that a lot of agents are using. And what they did is they looked, I don't know how many thousands of agents they're serving, but they've got quite a few of them. In any event, they looked at the difference among their clients between agents who made $250,000 per year versus those who made $70,000 a year. And the question is, how much longer did those who make $250,000 per year prospect versus those who made $70,000 per year? Is it 2 hours, 3.5 hours, 9 hours, or 15 hours? Well, at this point, if you're in the program, it would pause and it asks the agents to answer the question, and then you would move forward to get the answer. And the answer is that the difference is 90 minutes per day. So that comes out to be about, that's all. So if I prospect 90 minutes a day, 5 days per week, that's the secret to earning $250,000 per year. So again, That's not a lot of time when you think about that's five, that's what, 8 hours a week of prospecting to earn $250,000. And that's where most people, they just find it difficult to do that on a consistent basis. So in terms of the differences, 100% of the $250,000 earners had a written business plan. They prospected 4.6 days per week for at least 90 minutes versus 3.5 days for 60 minutes. So you're talking about 30 minutes more, one extra day a week. That's not that much. So the difference is 3 hours and 25 minutes more prospecting time to earn over triple the amount of income. If the agents do nothing else but get the idea that they need to lead generate 90 minutes a day, 5 days a week, that is the biggest takeaway that they can, that they get from this program. Because again, nothing happens until someone generates a lead. So prospecting needs to be their #1 priority every day. And what happens, of course, and we all know about this, we get busy, and we have transactions to manage. We're taking out a lot of clients. We're working hard, but they still need to carve out that 90 minutes per day, every day to prospect. Now, tip number 2: where do new agents find their first deal? Well, this is a study that was done in 2012 by the Texas Association of Realtors, and we're repeating the study right now down here in Texas. But what we found was 52.3% of the transactions came from their sphere of influence. 28.1% came from a broker referral, and we're not, because of the way the question was asked, we weren't certain if that was they got it from the broker gave it to them, they're part of a team where another agent gave it to them. We don't have the data on that. 17.8% came from open house, and then we didn't have an option that covered floor time or opportunity time. 10% of the people who responded wrote that in. So that number is much higher than that. So again, if they've got good skills on the phone, in terms of getting information, getting that person's information about, their contact information about what they're calling on, that's a great source for agents to get their business off and running. Now, tip number 3 is for the agents to begin building their referral database. And this is one of the exercises that we use as they start the business. Our belief is that they need to know the contracts. They need to be able to learn the inventory, and we want them. We walk them through a know your neighborhoods exercise where they actually are given specific activities to do, where they start mastering the different areas that they're working in. And then we do this exercise that I'm going to walk you through this morning. It's called Whom Do I Know? And the third thing is to build their referral database or their client database, to build a CRM essentially. So we ask the questions: whom do they know from their job, because they went to a certain school, because they have a hobby or a sport, from doing charity or public service work. And by the way, when you're recruiting, you want to look for someone who has a heart of service, because those are the people who are going to make contacts from giving back to their community. And what the research shows, there's a book called $1 Billion Agents, that's with a B, Lessons Learned, that came out 6 or 7 years ago. But what they did is they interviewed those agents who had sold $1 billion worth of real estate in their careers. And what they found, I went through and actually counted it, but of the people that were profiled in that book, 67% of them said one of the most important parts of their business was contributing back to their community. So, I want to encourage you. We look for other things when we hire sometimes, but the #1 thing is to look for, having an education mindset. And if they're not willing to pay for a program, for this program, then there's one of two things going on. Either they don't value education and they're going to be a shortcutter and they're not going to learn what they need to know to master the business, or B, they're undercapitalized and they really need to have a job and to save more money so that they can come into the business where they can devote full time to it. I don't know what your experience has been, but mine was when I was working 40 hours a week, I made money, and if I didn't work 40 hours a week, I didn't make anything. So to me, real estate, and most of the agents that I saw, our company that I worked for didn't hire part-timers. you either came in with a full-time commitment or else we didn't want you because we wanted professional realtors. Now, we also ask, whom do I know because of religious or spiritual involvement? That's a part of the commitment to the community again. Whom do I know because I own my home? Those are contractors, painters, anybody that does work on my home. Whom do I know, at the dry cleaners, at the market? Whom do I know through my family? And then, so what would happen is we would go through this, and then this is an example of what you would see in the program of one of the exercises. So we would ask you to pause right now, and at the end of today's session, spend at least 1 to 2 hours after today's session to complete this exercise. Your goal is to have at least 150 names on your list. And then what they'll do is they start meeting strangers. Then the idea is to upgrade your list so you have 150 people with whom you will be in regular contact. The research says that's about what any one person can manage. And that you will comment on their Facebook posts, that you will be in conversation with, that you'll see at least quarterly face-to-face, and that you will contact at least monthly. Because again, the research shows that the typical person knows 12 real estate agents, and they do business with the first one they see when they decide they're ready to buy or sell a home. Now, 3 shocking facts from NAR, I alluded to one of them. All types of websites, including those from associations, companies, Realtor.com, and Zillow, only accounted for 4% of all closed listing sales. Newspapers, postcards, flyers, all those other things accounted for 4% of closed listings. A yard sign plus an open house generated 7% of all closed listing sales. So a yard sign and open house can generate quite a few sales. The key takeaway from this study is that 76% of the transactions came from having face-to-face contact. So what we drive in the training is the importance of being face-to-face. 24% came from other sources, and that can be somebody may have seen my website, may have seen a sign out there on a property, may have seen an ad in the paper, in a luxury magazine if I'm selling that type of property. So again, it's across the board, but being face-to-face is the most critical thing. And encourage your agents to be involved in activities that put them face-to-face with potential customers. Now, where to do it? They can get involved in their chamber, Rotary. Volunteering in your place of worship are fantastic ways to really build your business with people who share your values and who are doing something to give back to others. And again, one of the strategies we talk about is actually the coffee shop strategy. And the idea is you can actually, and if you've got a really, a friendly dog, take the dog, sit outside if it's a nice day, have your favorite cup of coffee, and take your iPad or your tablet computer and sit there and look at the new listings and make sure you've got all the really good-looking color pictures on there. People will notice what you're doing, and they should have their name badge. We don't want them to be secret agents. Well, anyway, if you have a name badge, you've got a dog, and you're looking at listings, chances are people are going to come up to you and say hello. They may look at the dog, but they see what you're doing, and they're going to ask what you do. And then we give them the scripts for converting them. But this can also work at a local diner or anywhere else. But the idea is that you want to be in conversation. Put yourself in a place where you have an opportunity to have conversations. So again, I talked about doggy marketing, as we like to call it. But there's one gentleman in California, Southern California, who was very, very competitive, and he just got to know people by walking his dog in the neighborhood. He'd just stop and talk to him, walk the dog twice a day, and talk to anybody that was out and about, but always had his name badge on. And remind your agents to wear their badges whenever they go out, because it makes them more approachable. And if your company has like caps or polo shirts or sweatshirts, encourage them to wear those to casual events as well, because people will ask them about real estate. Their goal is to add 5 people per day. So that's what they call a big, hairy, audacious goal. But if they're adding 25 people a week to their database, then they can certainly start sifting through who are the ones that are going to be good prospects for them in the future. Not only right now but in the future. Now, one of the things that's very discouraging for new agents, they feel, in fact, even for those of us who are experienced, not everyone's our customer. And part of what we want them to do is to understand that not everyone is going to be transacting with them because they're just not, they're not in transaction, they're not in transaction mode. The current research is showing about 14%. People are moved about once every 7 years. And that'll vary by location and price range. You're high end, it may be less than that. If you're in the first-time buyer market, or if you're working in a place where there's a lot of tech people, they turn over every two to 3 years in many cases. So it's going to vary, based upon the location. But the national averages are about once every 7 years currently. Now, given that, what percentage of the people that they will contact are likely to transact in the next 90 days? 3 to 5%, 5 to 7%, 8 to 10%, or 11 to 15%? Well, the correct answer, again, this is in the program, there would have been a pause your player now, and it would, say answer it, and then when they click on that, it would bring up this answer, 5 to 7%. So this is important because the way that you handle rejection is have them approach it as if it's a game of cards, if you've got some card players. But the idea is you're searching for the aces. There's nothing wrong with the other cards. They're just not what you're collecting right at this moment. You're searching just for those people who are ready to transact now. So, and it's only 5 to 7%. So if you knock on 20 doors, the probability is one of those people at least will be considering moving in the next 90 days. So the idea, or if you meet 20 people in an open house, one of those people will be thinking, and probably it's a higher percentage, but one of those people will be thinking about moving in the next 90 days. So again, this is the way, you're just searching for the people that are willing to do, and who are going to move and who are willing to consider hiring you as an agent. Now, tip number 6, what is the best time of the day to prospect? And they're all good times to prospect, but there's one time that's much more effective than any other time of day. So is it any time from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., or from 6 to 9 p.m.? Well, what the research shows, and this comes from the Keller Institute at Baylor University, the best time to prospect is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I asked one of my top, when I first saw this, I asked one of the top producing agents I was coaching at the time, and I knew she had a team and she was doing a lot, her team's doing an awful lot of prospecting. But anyway, what she says, oh yeah, that's the time when, you've got, if you've got a stay-at-home parent, they're home between 10 and 2. They get the kids off to school, they may have carpooled, then, they'll come back, they'll be home from 10 to 2 before they end up taking them to soccer or all the other after-school activities that are going on. So again, this is the best time to catch that stay-at-home parent at home. So between 10 and 2, and the conversion rate, I believe, is something like 33 or 50% higher between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Now here's, I'm very fond of scripts, and our scripts are very, we write them where we try to make them as simple as possible. And a great script has and we explain this in the program, has a greeting, an introduction of who you are as an agent. It has an offer of service, and then it has a closing question. So there are 4 components. Again, the greeting, the introduction, offer of service, and then a closing question. So this one, good morning. This is Sally, agent with ABC Real Estate. Mr. and Mrs. Jones have just listed their home at 123 Main Street and have asked me to personally invite you to our open house on Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. We'll be serving refreshments. Will you be able to attend? Now, this script, I like to call the $2 million listing script, or open house prospecting script, because we had one of our brand new agents who had been in business for just a couple weeks. She decides to go prospecting in Bel Air, California, one of the most expensive places to live in the entire country, and it's very hilly there. So she's out there on Saturday morning hiking around in her high heels. We've got given their color brochure. She's got a little invitation that we had printed up from the company, and she finally finds someone at home, and she couldn't remember the script, so she says, we're having an open house with refreshments, can you please come? Well, the woman who was there was so impressed with the fact, here's an agent who's out pounding the pavement looking for business. She hired her, and she got a $2 million listing. So that's my favorite story about that particular script, but it is a true story. Now, one of the things that's been a challenge, especially for new agents, is converting leads from open house. And Right now, and there may be some other apps out there, but this is the granddaddy of them all. It's called Open Home Pro. And this app is absolutely terrific because what happens is when someone comes in, you say, would you like information on this property? If so, I can text or email it to you if you sign in on my iPad for Open Home Pro. So you hand it to them, they fill out their information, they get all the information, you can load up the videos, the photos, everything gets sent to their mobile device. And you've got a great contact right there. Now, the agents that are using this are telling me they still have a paper sign-in sheet for those who don't feel comfortable with the technology, because we have older people sometimes, even some younger people who don't deal with this. But nevertheless, this is something that that is really a powerful lead converter. The other thing about this is if the agent gets a price reduction, you can enter the price reduction into the Open Home Pro system, and then it will notify anybody who's signed in that the price has been reduced on this property. And that's something every agent needs to do, but virtually no one does it. They don't follow up with past people who've been through their open houses to let them know there's been a price reduction. So this is a great little tool, and it's very reasonably priced. Now, this next tip is taken from the buyer's session, and we train a buyer interview. And if your agents aren't doing this, we really want to encourage them to get in conversations, just a series of questions. Again, they put that on their tablet, their mobile device, and then they can just ask the questions and write down the people's answers. And again, when they're writing down the answer, it shows they're listening to them. They care what they think. So, but when they've gone through this particular series of questions, the last question is, when we look at property, it is very important that you tell me what you like and what you don't like. Consequently, after we look at each house, unless you tell me that you want to write an offer, I'm going to ask, what are the reasons that you're not buying this property? Is that okay with you? Now, by asking that in my buyer interview, that gives me that lets me close them after every single showing. And there's, they've agreed to it, there's no big issue, but the idea is to uncover what's not right about the property. So again, this is, it's a way to close that's where they're not going to feel like they're being closed. Instead, that you're inquiring about how, what's right, what's wrong, to help them hone in on their decision making. Now, tip number 9. How to beat experienced agents on listing appointments. If you want to have, an interesting time, go with every one of your agents on a listing appointment, see what they do. Most of us are, who have done that, it's kind of like take a deep breath and go, wow, okay, use some more training here. So, but here's how to beat the experienced agents. First of all, single property websites are a great way to do this. There's a lot of different providers out there. I'm certain that you have your favorites. But essentially, these are sites that use the property address as the web address. So it'd be www.555mainstreetinmobile.com. So again, this is a way to have the agents set themselves apart. But going beyond just the single property website, they can create a single property Facebook business page that uses that property's address. This costs nothing, and we show the agents how to say they've got a social media marketing plan by saying, single property Facebook business page. This is how to do it. Also, they can also create a single property page on Pinterest that shows the the indoor and the outdoor, for the photos or more photos of the property. And you can also set up the same thing on Instagram. But the idea now is I have something on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. I now have a social media marketing strategy. And by the way, if I put the video on YouTube that we shot, that's going to make me stand out from the competition. Now, why should your agents be on Pinterest? The average viewer spends 77 minutes per visit. It drives more referral traffic than Google+, YouTube, and LinkedIn combined. Isn't that a breathtaking statistic? More than Google+, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And by the way, I just heard this at the Inman Real Estate Connect conference, that Facebook has just surpassed YouTube in terms of videos viewed, in terms of most times. So Facebook is where you need to be posting videos, as well as YouTube and on the other places. Pinterest also generates more leads than Bing and Yahoo. 70% of the users are female, and 28% earn over $100,000 per year. This is our target market. Over 90% of the buying decisions are made by women, and 28%, over 1 out of 4 are earning $100,000. That's a sweet spot for most of our markets. So the main secret to real estate sales success, as I mentioned at the beginning, the Texas Realtor University study showed, the TR study showed, that agents who succeeded quickly consistently cited obtaining sales training at the beginning of their careers. So when it comes to recruiting, 2 of the things you're looking for is, are they willing to commit to being trained? And if they're not, I'd encourage you to maybe look for an agent who is willing, who wants that training, is motivated by it. And secondly, they've got the education mindset, but also be screening for that community service. Where are they giving back? Because they're more likely to succeed. So Josh, I'd like to turn it back to you right now for any Q&A that we have here.
All right, thanks, Bernice. Haven't had any questions come in, so just since we're already about 45 minutes in, if any of you have questions for Bernice, feel free to just email me after this. If you have questions about the program, it's available now. I wanted to take you to a screen to show you what that looks like and how you can access it there. So I've got a couple of slides. Bear with me for just a second. So the training is now live on alabamarealtors.com/new-agent, and this is what the page looks like there. So you can visit that website, read more about the program, and actually go through the login process to purchase the programs for your agents right there. And if you have questions or need help and assistance for doing so, please feel free to just shoot me an email or give me a phone call after this webinar is over. Just a couple of quick announcements about upcoming events. We're doing another one of these brokers webinars featuring Jim Lawrence, the education director at ACRE. It's going to be called The American Dream for All. AAR, the National Association of Realtors, and ACRE have teamed up for a new fair housing initiative. And March 11th at 11 a.m., Jim's going to talk about fair housing in today's market as related to it being a part of the American Dream. So mark that on your calendar now. The registration link will go out to that one soon. Also, the Graduate Realtor Institute begins tomorrow for the spring term and runs through May. So if you have agents looking for some great classes, this is an example of one. The Working with Sellers class teaches creating listing presentations, servicing the listing, and negotiations. Your agents can begin those classes for $45 per month. So alabamarealtors.com/GRI, and all the information about that program is available there. Also on April 7th, we're bringing a brand new conference to Birmingham called Recharge. It's a full day of technology, marketing, and sales training. April 7th, 2015, the tickets are available at explodethis.com. $99 early bird rate expires on February 18th. So get your $99 tickets early. After that date, it goes to $199 for the event. So get those now. And a brand new event that we're happy to tell you about first here on this Brokers webinar is that we're bringing Ninja Selling 1, 2, and 3 here to Montgomery, sponsored by the CRS Alabama chapter, July 22nd through the 24th. Available for $99 per day and taught by Terry Johnson. So registration for that opens soon. You can be checking our website, and we'll send out an announcement as soon as that's open and available. So thanks for watching our webinar today. We really appreciate it. Bernice, there was lots of great information that you gave us, so we're so grateful to you for doing so and doing that. Any final parting words for our brokers before we sign off this morning?
I just want to thank everyone for joining us and staying with us. And if you have any questions about the content in the program, please feel free to email me personally at bernice@realestatecoach.com. Again, that's Bernice, BERNICE, @realestatecoach.com. We're here to help you have a great experience, and that's what, we're happy to do that. And thank you again, and thank you, Josh, for all the work that you put in to make this happen.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and we hope to see you on March 11th at our next Brokers webinar. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.